There's been too much trouble here. Did you know that a young boy drowned the year before those two others were killed? The counselors weren't paying any attention. They were making love while that young boy drowned. His name was Jason.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be the first episode of a weekly series I'll be doing called What I've Been Watching. Just going to be short thoughts on the movies that I've watched during the week. I just thought it'd be something I can put out a video each week on, besides other stuff as well. So this week I got through 6 movies. I did watch a couple more actually, but they're for a future video and I don't want to really put them in this one. First one I watched was Monster Man from I think 2003. This movie was terrible. It was the forced humor in it was just way too much. It was kind of like a road trip movie, but this guy and his friend, their humor was just terrible. Like, it was so forced. There was like a few kills and a little bit of gore in there, but nothing too great in my opinion. I probably won't be keeping this one in my collection. I did pick this up in like a big bundle locally, so it only cost me like $1 or $2, so it doesn't really bother me. There was some funny cheese in it, which made me like laugh out loud a little bit, but other than that, bit of a waste of time in my opinion, unless you like those sort of movies, I guess. Next one here is The Loved Ones. Good to see a nice, pretty brutal modern Australian horror movie. Not too many get made here that are this good. It's about a girl and a guy. Spoilers alert. These will be full of spoilers as well. Just letting you know. He didn't want to take her to the dance, I believe. He had someone else in mind, and she kind of lost her shit, and her and her dad kidnapped him and take him to her house, which is on like a farm property, and basically just torture this guy. And you find out that she's been doing this from a very young age. Her and her dad are pretty sadistic. There are some squeamish scenes in it. She's putting like nails and posts like through his feet and stuff like that. But yeah, overall pretty good. I'd definitely recommend it. Next one here, another Australian film, Hounds of Love. This also has an Arrow release, I believe. Has a really good suburban Australian setting. It's pretty relatable. Like, I see places like that all the time. I think the actor, I forget her name, who played Emma Booth, her character, she did a really great job. The way she played, I guess, the victim, it is kind of like a sexual abuse movie / kidnap movie. She's walking to a party, and this couple picks her up because they said they're gonna sell her some weed. So she goes back to their house, and then she gets handcuffed to a bed and kept there for days on end, getting abused. All of like the rape scenes and stuff are off camera, so it's not really like gritty that way. It just sort of leaves it up to your imagination though, because you can still hear the sounds, you just can't see what's going on. Overall very fantastic film. Again, great to see another Australian movie, and this is based on a true story that happened here as well, so adds another little dimension to that. Next one, A Quiet Place. Took me a long time to see this movie actually. I do really like the atmosphere of this film a lot. There is basically no dialogue. There is a little bit, but yeah, it shows they can do a great movie just on visuals and stuff alone. Doesn't have to have a lot of dialogue in it. And I really like the start of the film where because you're meant to be quiet, otherwise these monsters or aliens, they can hear you from kilometers away, and they'll just come and kill you. And yeah, little boy at the start, which is part of the family that you follow throughout the film, he turns on this like fire truck toy which has batteries in it that he wasn't meant to put in there, and yeah, the monster just takes him out, like, and he's only probably, I don't know, between probably 4 and 6 years old. And like, I really like that because it shows the movie's not gonna fuck around. Doesn't matter if it's a child or whatever, it's gonna kill them. Just shows there's no sympathy with the monsters. And also the deaf daughter, I think that's a really cool part of the film too, because the family knows how to do sign language and stuff like that, so they already have an understanding on how to talk to each other without using their voice. And yeah, the ending, at first, like when I seen it, I didn't really like how it ended. It was pretty abrupt, but over time, like, it sort of was a pretty good way to end it, I think. The more I sort of thought about it, because it sort of showed they know a way to kill the monsters, but they just sort of leaves up to imagination. And I do believe that they're doing a sequel to this one. A couple of like dislikes for this one, just sometimes the characters would make the smallest of sounds and the monsters would hear them, and other times they'd make louder sounds than what they did before, and like they wouldn't even act like it was a big deal or anything. And also, I don't really have any idea how you would survive with like a newborn baby when she gives birth in this film. It'd be impossible, like, really. Even with that soundproof crate they had it in, when you get it out to feed it, change it, you know, it's not going to happen. But overall, really good movie, and it looked really good in 4K too. Next one I watched only the other day, Overlord. This was really good. Like the war setting and the opening scene where they're all in the plane, waiting to jump into battle, basically. Introduces you to the small group of characters, and most of them get killed off as they're making that dive out of the plane. Only like a few, probably a handful, like 4 or 5 survive out of that whole crew. Also a pretty good villain too. I can't remember his name, but the German guy that's going around inspecting all the houses of the locals, and raping that girl. I do like the underground laboratory where they're experimenting, making those like 1,000-year soldiers. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I know this is like under the horror section and stuff like that, but I still don't really see it as a horror movie. I see it more as a war movie, in my opinion. Most of it is war based, obviously, but like with the 1,000-year soldiers, they do have a little bit of screen time, but I think they're more just like, I don't know, just kind of a little experiment thing. It's not, I don't know, to me it's just a war film with a tiny little bit of horror in it. I don't think it's all horror, but I still think it's a great film. I didn't like a lot of the, I guess, CGI effects of the 1,000-year soldiers. Some of it looks really just tacked on. Some of it looked good because I think they mixed a bit with some practical effects, so that made it look really good. Has a pretty decent runtime. I think it's like just under 2 hours, but it sort of fills you in on everything you need to know, I think. Overall, yeah, pretty good. I would like to see more of the 1,000-year soldiers, though, like do their work against, I guess, like a whole unit of soldiers. That would have been really cool. Having like, say, 5 of the 1,000-year soldiers going up against like 20 to 30 of the military. I reckon that would have been really awesome. And last one here, we have Bride of ReAnimator. This was really fun. I am a huge fan of the original ReAnimator, and to me this one doesn't hold a candle to that. But it was a pretty fun movie. But yeah, didn't really like it. Didn't really like it as much as the first one, sorry. It had pretty good comedy elements. just like the first one, but they sort of bring it out more in this. Yeah, instead of just sort of reanimating the dead, they try and bring back parts from different bodies, put them together and see if they can reanimate a whole human from that. Has some pretty funny comedy elements, such as when like they take the whole dead body out of the hospital in the wheelchair and they put sunglasses on it. I think that's freaking awesome. It looks so funny. And when like the police detective or investigator who comes and looks at their house, if catches what's his name? The main character, can't remember his name for some reason. Oh, Herbert West. Because he notices he's been snooping around the body part area and they've been going missing. Like he always shows his badge to everyone to let them know that he's a detective. And like even when he becomes reanimated, he still shows off his badge, which I think is really funny. One thing is pretty good transfer. This is the Arrow Steelbook. But there was I guess you see it in a lot of movies. This is the uncut version. You can really tell the pieces that they did cut out for the theatrical release and stuff like that because it was a lot grainier. The film does seem really thrown together, in a rush, but in the special features, the director Brian Yakuza explains that they only had a couple of days to do this. He originally said that they wanted to have it set in the White House and bring back old presidents, which would have been friggin' awesome, but like a lot of movies, they don't have the budget nor the time to do that. So, but yeah, I think it was really good. There was a lot of good practical effects in this. It was cool they brought the character of Dr. Hill back, even though he was just a head. But if you're a fan of the first ReAnimator, I reckon give this one a shot. Nowhere near as good as the original, but still a pretty fun movie. So there you have it, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. I'll be doing it once a week, just on the movies that I've been watching. So hope it gives you an insight on something you haven't seen, or just check them out for yourself. It'd be fun. So thanks, guys.